How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another weekend recap for Grand Archive. We actually have 5 events to cover today, so I'm just going to jump right in and start talking about some of the statistics and all that kind of stuff. So, first one was an online regional for Elusive. It was a webcam regional. Technically not the weekend, but it was close enough for the weekend. We're gonna look at the top 8. So I don't know. Yeah, most of these were top 8 events because they were not anywhere. They weren't large enough, not quite there. I believe 80 plus is where they start hitting the 16 invites. So these are all gonna be the top 8 that we're gonna look at for these decks. And usually, near the end of the events, when everyone is pretty sure they're locked for the top 8, they just kind of ID. So we're gonna see a lot of like 502s or 402s or whatever it might be in these events, but basically they went undefeated and then just ID the last round. So starting at 8th place here, we actually have Fire, Fractals, Polcock. Now, this is an interesting list that made top 8. Starts Fire Spirit, goes into Polcock level 1, and then is just playing a lot of generic stuff that you've seen before. Backup Charger, Sensor for those those decks that are running a lot of high floating memory, those level 3 decks. Amulet, Tariff Ring, Water Bobble, just respect Fractals and other water decks. Smoke Bombs to get around Taunts and Interceptors. Impact Hammer to just push some damage. I'm sure there's probably if I look down here, I wouldn't be surprised if we see a Heat of Vengeance. Here it is. So yep, that's in there for that. It hurts yourself, but allows you to push a lot of damage. Bomber Flare Cannon, little mini board clear, and penetrate around with that Bomber Flare Cannon to make sure that actually goes off and allows you to hit face and be uninterrupted or unpreventable when you use this bullet. So nothing crazy about the material deck here. Mainly that it just is level 1 Polcock. Level 1 Polcock is really, really cool. When you go Fire Spirit, you have a Fire Spirit and you level up to level 1 Polcock. You give your next Ranger ally you play distant. It comes into the field distant. So I'll talk about why that's really important here in a second. And note that it is not just Fire Ranger ally, is just the next Ranger ally card you activate this turn. So Lurkings, this is an aggro deck, so it looks like it's going a little more ally heavy. Does have the Lurking. Staggering Strikes respects the Tristans and also just push damage and give you True Sight. So Staggering Strike is one of the highest main-boarded or sideboarded cards currently in the meta because of Tristan and even now Lux and Xander. Removes a lot of prep counters, removes a lot of their burst potential, so I get why it's here. Trained Sharpshooter. This can become a 4/3 on the turn you play it. Airship Cannoneer can become a 6/3 on the turn you play it if you went level 1 Polcock and then leveled up into leveled up in level 1 Polcock and you play one of these first. They swing for a lot of damage. So Arthur makes sense. Blazing Lunge, not 100% sure why this is in here other than just a 3-cost deal 4 damage attack. So maybe it's just in there for that. Blazing Throw because it's really good. It's a really strong. I'm sorry it's a 4 of, but yeah. Cinder Geyser. Looks like they just want some 4 damage, fast damage, or yeah, 4 cost, not 4 cost, 4 damage at fast speed. There you go. So I guess that's why that's in here. Dazzling Courtesan. This is a really, really solid card. Love this card. If someone has Nullifying Lantern, though, it turns it off and makes it just a 3-drop 2/2, which is not great, but otherwise you can get really good value from this. Demolition, 3 cost, deal 3, fire fast card. So sure, makes sense there. Flame Bolt, Arbalist. So I get why this is in here because it's a 2-cost 2/1. If you gave it distant, though, it becomes a 2-cost 6/1. That is one heck of a beater. That is deal 6 damage for 2. So totally makes sense why that is in there. Heated Vengeance, Veteran Blaze Bear, just a 3-drop 2/3 fire ally. Incendiary Shot used with our Bombard Flare Cannon. Powered Sentinel again, another 3-drop 2/3 that is fire. And then Rococo's, Vermilions, and a 4 of Tinder Flare Pivot. So this is a really cheap way to give your units distant and also range 1, and range does stack. So you can put this on a unit that already has range, or even if one that doesn't have range, and it adds it onto that. So range 2 Sharpshooter, which becomes range 3 when using this card on it, and then of course makes it distant as well. So cool little synergy with the deck with that kind of stuff. Kind of cool. I don't know why it's called. Do they call it Fractals? Yeah, Fire Fractals Polcock. I wonder what's giving it the Fractals tagline here, but that is just Fire Aggro Polcock, not Fractal Polcock. And then let's go to the next one. So I won't cover Water Dao-Chan. We've talked about that before. I won't even cover Wind Hybrid Tristan, Fire Aggro Tristan. This is just Fire Aggro Xander with Tristan in it as well. Because sometimes you might not need the prep counter, but you might be able to play a fast action at the end step as well. So maybe you play one in your recollection, and then you do your turn, you play your stuff, and then you go to end step, and then you get 3 back from Tristan level 1 from the agility, and then you're able to play one more card after that to finish them off. So that's only the reason why it's there. It's like when you recognize the kill, go for it. Other than that, nothing too crazy about this deck. There are wind unique allies, whatever you want to call it. Just playing. It's not like actually like it is unique, but it's not playing the Dailu, which is kind of interesting. But it's mainly just playing unique allies where Mortal Ambition gets a lot of value. Sunshi and Princess, and it actually is a 4 of Guan Yu. But it's just playing stuff so you can get Oath off. So it's not playing Dailu. It's not trying to play around that. It's just trying to play around getting 3 unique allies on board and then using Oath. So, of course, and Blanche is really good in the meta right now. This is a funny card to put in. It can kind of counter certain decks, so it's kind of cool. If it's in the mirror, it's really good in the mirror. If they are also on like almost a full unique ally deck. So that's all this deck is. Nothing crazy there. The deck that took it down was Fire Aggro Lorraine. Of course, our boy Jimmy Lee took it down. Love this guy. He's an awesome dude. Just playing Fire Aggro Lorraine, which is really good right now. When people are not on Nullifying Lantern and they're not running any kind of counter to this deck, this thing runs wild. Fire Momentum's hit for a lot. It's just doing a lot of damage really quickly. So full-on draw based here. It has a drawn blade, it has the 3 baubles and the GCR. It really just wants to draw and then get enough influence where it can just kind of just kill you. So really cool deck there. Let's move on to the next event though. New Zealand. So there's 2 New Zealand events that happened this weekend. Again, top 8. We're looking at Tristan, Fire Luxem Xander. Nothing crazy about this. This is just Serene Luxem Xander. It's really basic. Pretty much everyone is on a very similar list like this. 4 creative, a couple of planteds. And then just a bunch of Luxem cards. So that way when you go to reveal with Striking Illuminance, you're getting a lot of value and damage off of that. So nothing crazy there. Go back to this. There's 2 of them in top 8. And then a bunch of Water Fractal Dao-Chan. Again, nothing crazy with these lists. This one is a full, it's going in on draw. It wants backup charger, it has the bobbles, and it has Tengu. It is playing Quicksilver Grail just because sometimes it's really good with Scepter or Protector Safeguard. Amulet is the bigger thing. Having a way to, if you have this, it doesn't allow it to be just blown up instantly in the mirror by Crystalline Mirror. So get it there. So it's running the bobbles to help compensate that it doesn't have GCR, which does take up a lot of material deck space, but it can be quite good. And then it's just, generic, a little different things, with either Paladins or Gildises. Those are always been there. Sometimes people are on John Yu, some people aren't, but that's that. And then Win Tristan took it down, but the one I want to talk about is second place here with a Guaujia with Fabled Azurite Fatestone. So, this is the deck I wish I could play, but haven't been playing. Just getting a bunch of counters. This one's kind of racing to 3 to get value off of the Sirius Command and Byaku's Command and Harness Lightning. It's on Dungeon Guides. It's on the Besieged Fate Stones. It's on Winds of Destiny. So this is actually kind of a cool card. It costs 0. It can be like a Zephyr, but it can cost 0. And it only needs 2 Fate Stones to cost 0. So you always get one from level 1, and then you'll probably have a second one from Besieged Fate Stone. So kind of a cool card. It hits everything. It hits more stuff technically than Zephyr does. But yeah, nothing crazy with this deck other than it's just going to level 3 and using its dragon to do a lot of damage. So, and then of course the Wind Tristan that I was talking about earlier. Standard Wind Tristan, nothing crazy. 3 Shadow Strike. It's on 3 Slice and Dice. It's just going. It's doing its thing. It can sometimes get an early Slice and Dice with Assassin Ripper. Yeah, nothing crazy about this deck. We've seen this a lot at topping events, along with all the other deck lists that were here. So the other New Zealand event, a little bit smaller, but did have a couple Wind Astras top this, and also a Water Mill. And I guess I didn't see this last time I was looking at this, which is a Fire Fractal. So Wind Astra. Again, I did look at this list. This is actually pretty heavy on Astra. Because it is going a Glimpse Spirit, you can kind of get away with that. So it's running a lot of just really solid Astra cards. It's on 2 Dawn's Reversal, which is when you, as long as a card activate has been active as long as the card activation has been negated this turn, it is glimpsing your level and dealing level damage to target unit. So it can be a little bit of removal, a little bit more glimpsing, a lot of you keep star calling and all that kind of stuff. So kind of a cool card there. It's a little bit unique in that sense. I don't think this other one was too different. I don't really remember. Yeah, no. It's basically the same thing. Nothing. I'm sure slight changes here and there. But as you can see, this top, there's a lot of 3-1s. And then 302, 401, and a 5-0. So this person just actually played it out. They probably played their last round. I wouldn't be surprised if these two were the last players, and they played it out because it's like, well, we're both going to guarantee top 8, so might as well play it out and see who actually won. So Fire Fractals, Dao Chen. This is, I believe, similar to, yeah, this is, I can't remember exactly what Chess Club's list was like, but they were also going to level 3 using Scepter of Awakening, which is really fun. To turn your fractals into little allies that can swing for on the turn, which is kind of cool. Other than that, it's just putting down ally fractals and getting its influence really low, and getting a lot of value with Fire Bloom Flourish. Fire Bloom Flourish is a really, really solid card. If it sticks on board and they're getting value from it, it just feels so powerful. If you don't see it, it can feel pretty bad, pretty rough. So, and then, like I said, Wind, Hybrid, and Tristan. We just looked at a list almost exactly like this. It might even be the same list. I didn't even see if it's the same person or not. But yep, 3 Shadow Strike, 3 Slice and Dice. We've seen it. It's good. It's killing people. And then we're on to some US ones. So this is Final Turn Gaming regional. We do see a Wind Luxem. This is, I think, one of the first Wind Luxems we've seen top, or not top ever, but I just meant in these regionals that we're looking at today. But yeah, it's basically Wind Tristan, but Luxem. I mean, that's all this is. It's just going to level 3. 2 Gleaming Cut is interesting. Gleaming Cut's usually one you really want to see because it just gets your hand value back, like get your cards back into hand really quickly. So kind of interesting that we see it there. But honestly, Wind has the ability to gain a lot of value. So you might not, depending on how you play and what you play against, you might already have a huge influence by the time you get to level 3, so it might not matter to have Gleaming Cuts or not. But yeah, this is just Wind, Luxem, nothing crazy there. Another Wind allies, Water, Norm Taxes, take a look at that real quick in a second here, and then another Mill deck, and then Fractals took down the list, Stevo here, taking down the list, or taking down the event with Water Fractals, but the Taxes list here, very similar to Henke's list from Seattle Ascent, I believe, but has a little bit more playability on your opponent's turn. I don't know if you know, but the Taxes list that was made by Henke in Seattle, very similar. It was Cleric, though, instead. This is a list this is really cool. It has a lot of power behind it because when you're Assassin, you get Poison Dagger. Poison Dagger is really, really, really solid because obviously when your opponent takes 1 more damage from every single source this turn, turns out you can push a lot of damage really quickly. Plus, more importantly, probably is Incap. Incap, the list, like I was saying earlier, the list from Seattle really didn't have a bunch of play on your opponent's turn. Usually, they kind of just put down allies and just swung and just passed. Like there was no like interaction to do on your opponent's turn, but because you're in Norm, even though you are in Water, you want to have as much Norm cards as possible because you want to keep Dawn of Ashes up for as long as you can. So the only Water card you're playing is Zucheng, which is another tax card. So Incap is really, really solid. Going Xander, so it only costs 2, is really cool. We're on Academy Guide, so we get to level 1 really cheaply or free, hopefully, and even go to level 2 maybe really cheaply or freely. So really cool list. Playing Sadie, so, Sadie, if you haven't felt it, is really, really strong. Has a 3 Slice and Dice, also really, really strong. Sables, also really strong. You can tell that this list is going a little more into the automatons because actually being able to use that power cell is really strong as well. So Charge Mannequins, Automaton Gardener, and Sable Remnants all are automatons that you can use that power cell on. So really cool there. I really like this list. It's cool that it is also topping events as well. And next we have a Watermill list. This is nothing crazy. Again, this is similar. If you've looked at any the topping Watermill lists from Ascent, SEA, sorry, not Ascent, the SEA Nationals, This is a very similar list. It might even be card for card the same list. It looks really, really similar. Playing 2 of Stratagems, I don't know if that was in there. I do like this change. Stratagem is just such a strong card, and when you get like Fracturized Lantern, and so you can't use your Fabled Sapphire Fatestone anymore, or you can't go for Fractal Polar Depths, at least you have another play you can do, which is put a bunch of float in the drop and kill your opponent. So that's it. That's what this list does. It usually goes for mill out or getting a really big Genbu on board and swinging for a bunch of damage. And then Fractals took it down. I don't really need to talk about Fractals. But finally, let's talk about the last event of the weekend, which is here from Reaper Game Store Regional. We have a Wind Allies, another Fire Fractals Now Chan. I'm pretty sure this one is only level 1. Yep. So this one is where it just really throws its hand down as fast as possible, really trying to get value out of Fire Bloom Flourish, and just get as much just incremental like damage, and really play around your you being level 1 and using stuff from memory because you're getting a bunch of glimmer counters with Fire Bloom Flourish and doing a bunch of damage that way. So this little Impact Hammer and Blazing Throw is cheeky because it's Heated Vengeance. So Heated Vengeance with Impact Hammer, if you have a Heated Vengeance, you can swing for a total of 7 damage and then throw it, which is 11 damage total, which is a lot of damage really quickly, with not that much influence as well. So Water Allies Xander, we've seen this list a while ago. It's probably just updated with stuff like Halocline Scouts. Yeah, it's just Water Allies gaining value. It is the list that does not go to level 3. We saw this, I want to say, I don't think it was Santa Clara, but maybe it was Santa Clara. I can't remember. But there was a fire or water Xander list that just doesn't go level 3, doesn't go into Scepter, doesn't use Scepter at all, and it's just aggro, but with a little more defensive plays like Frostbite and stuff like that, and Freezing Hail, and I guess mainly in caps. And of course using Poison Dagger plus Halocline Scouts to push a bunch of damage. So really solid there. And the cool thing about this event was that there's a Fire Arcane Rye that topped. So Fire Arcane Rye is running the dual spirits. We've seen that before, and it's just going to level 3. It's not doing Advent stuff. It's just using Arcane Blast and Erratic Bolts to deal damage. Has a new Shattering Discharge which deals 2 unpreventable damage, and then it banishes it. So, and then if you banished it, you can actually activate it from banishment. Like if you activate it from banishment from memory, or I believe it's you may activate this card whenever this card is banished from your memory. Put a charge counter on it. Yeah. So when it's in your memory and you banished it, it goes into your banishment, and then you can activate it from your banishment, and then because you activate it from your banishment, when it because of its text, it goes back to the banishment. So it's like a really quick and cheap 2 damage that's unpreventable, so it pops spell shields, and allows your Arcane Blast and Erratic Bolts to still hit. So that's really cool. It's also running, it's increasing, and Incendiary Fractal to help to deal with allies on the way up. So kind of cool there. Purge and Flames. This deck was built to beat allies, and if it played against a bunch of allies, I'm sure it did pretty well. And then Wind Allies, Luxem, and then Wind Astra took it down the event. Nothing crazy here. Very generic. Regenerate is probably the craziest card in this list, but even that's not that crazy. Is just doing Wind Astra stuff, trying to get value. It's not doing it's running the float version, and not really running. I guess float's a big kind of. It's running Harvest Herbs, but it's not running Fertile Grounds. So Fertile Grounds can be hit by a lot of Fractal hate and Fantasia hate, and since everyone's running that, it's gonna get hit by that as well, and that's a lot of value to lose out on. And so it's just doing Indolent and Mnemonics and getting value there. So that's pretty much it, guys. Nothing. It's cool to see that there's so many lists to actually be able to be played right now. It's not just all Fractals all the time. It's not like Wind Astra won this one, Fractals won another one, Tristan won this one, and let's see what this one was. Another Tristan. I guess technically Tristan's the winner of most of these, and a Fire Agala Rain won this one. So again, nothing insane, nothing crazy happening. By the way, shout out to Kruthos, our teammate, who made 3rd in this event. Pretty cool. Happy about that. He took Luxem. Or not, yeah, he took Luxem. This is the I believe Southern Cal guys, the California guys that took it to SCA Nats, just basically their list. and just ran it and did well with it. So that's really cool. But yeah, that's it for all the events, guys. Excited to see how the meta turns out. We're seeing a lot of different decks in the meta. Not just one list winning it all. So it's not a tier 0 meta by any means. There's a lot of decks that are good and that you can win with. And it makes it deck building really difficult, to be honest, because you want to tech for certain decks, but you have to tech for all these other decks that are winning. So we'll see what comes up on top in the future events coming up here in the next couple of weeks, including, I don't think it's this weekend, but next weekend will be EU Nats, and the weekend, not after that, but one more week after that will be Oceania Nats. And so those will be exciting to see what we get from those as well. But in any case, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.